Mr. Umer, please start your lecture, and I think now it's already to the due time.
Okay, thank you. Yesterday we have done up to exercise 10. We have created the activities in our project, and then we have added the activity codes to all the activities which we created, and then we did some grouping and sorting on the basis of activity codes. So I hope all of you have done up to this, and you are working along with us, and everyone has completed up to exercise 10. Today we will go for exercise 11, and I will invite my colleague Mr. Ashtar. He will guide us to exercise 11. So Mr. Ashtar, please share your screen and start exercise 11.
Thank you very much, Mr. Umer. Can you please tell me, is my voice clear?
Yes, it's clear to me.
Thank you very much. So guys, now we move to our next part of the exercise, which is exercise number 11. Schedule is ready up in here, relationships for the activities that we have already developed into our schedule. So as you can see from the exercise slide, that these are the instructions which are given, that we will have to select the activity and then select the relationship tab, and my voice is not clear. Check. Is my voice better now? What about now? Is my voice better or not? I don't know. Maybe due to some internet layer is better is that you continue, because it's not right. That what is the problem? Should I continue or not? Because I'm seeing the message regarding the ice being not clear.
Okay, let me continue. I think there is some problem with the internet, I think, due to which people, it's difficult to understand.
Okay. Easy, but continue.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, today we will move forward to the exercise 11, which is yesterday we added the activities. What information we gave for every activity? We gave its activity ID, activity name, and we gave its duration. But we have not mentioned any start or finish date. Why? Because we want to link its start and finish with its relationship. So today we will define the relationship. What is the relationship between the activities? There are 4 types of relationship which we already discussed in the presentation. So I will again show you the relationships and how we assign the relationships. We have given a table in the exercise and in which every activity's relations are defined here. So we will put the relationship as per this exercise. So to add the relationship in activity, the normal practice is you can select the activity. On here, the activity tab, activity window, you can see you have the option for predecessor and you have the option for successor. So in the activity we have given the successor for every activity. So first activity, which is project start, we will click here and we will assign, there are 2 activities given for its successor. This is the activity and this is its relationship activities, 2 successor for this activity. One is TRNG 1010, TRNG 1170. So we will add these 2 activities as its successor activity. Click on successor, assign. From here we can search the activity number which we are going to assign for it. And other activity is 170. So we have added 2 activities. Here is this relationship tab in which there are 4 types of relationships which are showing: finish to start, start to finish, start to start, and one is finish to finish. So this is basically start milestone. That's why finish to finish is not shown here. But in a task dependent activity, you will have 4 types of relationship here. So we have to assign start to start here, and there is 0 lag. If we want to start this activity with some lag after the project start, then we will enter that lag here. And for other activity, it is also start to start and with 0 lag. So what will happen? On which day my project starts, same day I will start these 2 activities. But if I want to start the excavation after 7 days, I will have to put a lag here of 7 days. So as per exercise, there is no lag, so I will put it as 0. Then next activity in our exercise is excavation. Here 1010. We have 2 successor activities for it also. One is TRNG 1020. And 1080. Now you see, you can see 4 types of relationships here: finish to finish, finish to start, start to finish, start to start. So you can assign the relationships as per your activities, how the next activity is going to start with this. So in the exercise, your rebar fixing is start to start with the lag of 10 days. So I will do it start to start and I will put a lag of 10 days. So when excavations will start, after it's 10 days, my rebar fixing will start. And what is the relationship for this activity? This is also start to start with the lag of 30 days. So similarly, I will keep on adding the relationships as per exercise for the next activity. It's TRNG 1020, and I will also sort it as on the basis of WBS. So first, this activity also has two successors. One is 1030 and 1070. And what is the relationship between them? The first concrete placement will start with the lag of 12 days. And anchor bolt placement is start with the lag of 10 days. There are different ways to search it. You can write it here, or you can search the activities from here by summarizing, and then you can search your activity from here also. So either you write here, it is much easier. If you write the activity, you know the activity ID of successor, you can write it here. One 1040 and 1050. What is their relationship? They are both finish to finish, and it has a lag of 6 days, and mortar finishing has a lag of 4 days. So what it means that backfilling will finish 6 days after the concrete placement. So here is one more thing. This activity is the successor of this activity. But for this activity, if I go to this activity, its predecessor, it will be its predecessor. So just for easy watching, there is another tab. I am just telling you with it. You can add another tab of relationship. What this relationship tab shows. In this relationship tab, we have still added only the successor. We have not added any predecessor, but the successor of an activity can be the predecessor of another activity. So if you see the concrete placement, what is its predecessor? It's rebar fixing. And what is its successor? It is backfilling, mortar finishing. They are its successor. So meanwhile, we are adding successor only. It means we are also adding the predecessors. If it is a successor for one activity, then it's a predecessor for another one. So again, we will continue our exercise for 1040. We have one and its relationship is finish to start with the lag of 0. So mortar finishing. This activity has a relationship of start to start with the lag of 0. And 1060 activity protective coating, it's finished to start. Okay. And anchor bolt placement is start to start with the lag of 1 day. So for this activity, we have one successor. Its relationship is start to start with the lag of 10 days. Next activity, rebar fixing. It have two successors, both are start to start. Lag of 10 days, 8 days. Next is concrete placement. It has 4 successors. 1120, 1160, 1250. What's the relationship? First one, backfilling is finish to finish with a lag of 6 days. Mortar finishing is finish to finish with a lag of 4 days. And stationary equipment installation is finished to start with 0 lag, and last one is finished to start with 10 days lag. Finish to finish and a lag of -2. So here is one other thing, lag can be in positive or negative. What is this -2 lag means? So I am saying that backfilling and compaction has a successor of drainage pipe work with finish to finish relationship and a lag of -2. So what will happen? So it means that drainage work will happen 2 days before the completion of backfilling and compaction work. So in some relationships like the drainage work or some underground work, after which we have another activity of backfilling, this is a relationship we normally use, that we finish our drainage work and piping work before the end of backfilling work. We start backfilling from one side, on the other side there is drainage work continue here. And when drainage work will finish, after it our backfilling activity will finish. So like this in the activity, I am just checking the activity, clicking on the activity, add its successors, they check their relationship and lag. So like this, we will keep on continuing this exercise. For 1160, we have one. Eleven 1180. And its relationship is start with the lag of 26 days. start to start with the lag of 13 days. Start to start with the lag of 0 days. Start to start with the lag of 0 days. Lag of 38 days. For piping action, 1190, we have one successor. We are ranking 1230. And it is finished to start. The lag of -40. So 1200, it's 1230. Start to start with the lag of 40 days. They both are finished to start. Next is 1270. It has a lag of 20 days as per XSR. This activity is 1280. And 1290 has two successors. One is 1300. And one is 1310. The relationship is first is finish to finish. 1300 is finished to finish, and this other one is start to start with the lag of -25. Next activity is 1300, and its successor is finish milestone. Now 1310, its successor is 1320. And its successor is start to start with the lag of 10 days. Length of table, its successor is termination table with finish to start. Termination successor is installation of lightning fixture with start to start. load test successor is finished to project finish. And these are the activities for which we have added the relationships. No, we have just click on the successor tab and we have add the relationships. But now if we go to the relationships, you will see that you are having both predecessor and successor. Again, just scroll it down. You can see so every activity, it is now having the predecessor and successor. There will be two activities out of which one is project start, which will not have a predecessor, and one is project finish, which will not have a successor activity. So after adding the relationships for all the activities, now I will go to tool. Here is the tab schedule. You can schedule by clicking here. Now here select the date, which is 1st of April. You can schedule it here. Or other option is press the F9 button. This window will come here. You can schedule it from here. So what will happen now? Now if you see that all my dates have moved now. I will sort it. You can sort your data. I will from just clicking here as you do in Excel. We do the sorting by ascending or descending. So I want to sort the data on sending notes with the start date. So I click here and all the data has been sorted as on the date ascending mode. So you see now every date has changed. Now every activity is starting as per his relationship. So we have what relationship we have defined here, that execution will be start to start with 0 lag with the project start. Our project start date is 1st May. So on the same date, he is starting the excavation work. Similarly, for the next activity of rebar fixing, what was our predecessor? It was start with the lag of 10 days. So after the 10 calendar days, it is starting the activity. Because there are some off days in the calendar for Sunday. So it is not exact 10 days, it is 10 calendar days he is starting the activity. Similarly, if we go forward, this activity, what it started, it's finish to finish with concrete placement, backfilling and compaction. So our concrete placement is finishing on 13th of August, it is finishing on 20th of August. So every activity now has been sorted as per its relationship. So now the question comes, how we know what should be the predecessor and what should be the successor, what should be the lag between it. So basically this is the planning engineer. Here comes a planning engineer. It's his experience, his observations, his past projects, from which he can tell from his knowledge that to do this foundation work, these are my 7 activities. This will be their duration. This will be the link between them. First, I will do this work, then I will go move on to this work, second work, then I will go and start my third work. Or you can also have your site teams, your site in charges, engineers, which have done this work physically. So you can also take help from them. They can help you to make the activities for a certain WBS and to set their relationships. So in this exercise, sample exercise, we have defined the relationships in this table. So we completed it as per exercise. Then after completing it, we press the F9 for 1st of May. And then we have scheduled. What is this 1st of May called? Basically, this is data date. We discussed this in the duration. So our next exercise is regarding the apply of constraint. We have discussed the constraint in the exercise, and now we will apply them here in our project. and see what's their function and how to apply them. So if we go to the activity window here, in the general tab, so in the status tab, here is this option for constraint. All the types of constraint, 9 types of constraint which we discussed in our presentation, they are here. So we have to select what type of constraint we want to use on the activity, and what, after applying the constraint, you have to put a date on it. That what is the reference date for the constraint. If I am applying a start on constraint, I will select start on from here. And then I will select that this activity start on this date. For example, if it is starting on 30th of May, I will put a constraint and I will say that it should start on 17th of May because my steel is coming on 16th from the vendor and I can only start it on 17th. So I will put a constraint here that it will start on, you can put start on or start on or after, both of these constraints on this activity. So as per exercise, now we will move on. In the exercise, we have to put the constraint on activity TRNG null 50. I have first of all select the activity, go to activity tab. Here in status, you will find the constraint here. So we have to apply the constraint of start on, and its date is 1st of December 21. So this is a constraint I have added. Just see when this activity is starting now. As per its relationship, this activity is going to start 10 days after concrete finishing. What is its date? It is 16th of October. I will go to its predecessor activity. You can go to any predecessor activity by clicking here, go to button. So this is its predecessor activity. It is finishing on 4th of October. And then its successor activity after 4th, it's 10 calendar days or off. Then after we have this activity starting on 16th of October. What we have done now, we have put a constraint that it will start on 1st of December. Now we will press F time. We will schedule it and see what happened now. What has happened? The P6 has moved its date for ahead. So it's not now moving with its relationship, it is moving with the constraint. So it is now starting on 1st of December. And not only this activity moved, all the successor activities also move forward. So that's why we add the constraint here. So these are our two exercise 11 and 12. Anyone has any question up till now, he can ask.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay. Okay, just one question, because sometimes in the project we are going to have a lot of activities. So is there any way to do these activities in batch? For example, for the logistics, sometimes we will have the material which delivered in 10 batches or 20 batches. So we need to set the relationship between each other. But it takes a lot of time, just like do it one by one. So is there any faster solution to do it? Like some batch setting, or we import from some Excel file? Thank you.
There is another way. There is another way. I have put the constraint here for material delivery. So what is other way? Other way is you make another WBS here, which WBS will be of material delivery. Like after milestone, I make a WBS of material delivery in which I add the activities. All the I add the activities and I mark them as start milestones. All the material deliveries, if I for one material I will mark as LV cable. I need LV cable for some activities and it is coming in 4 batches. I will add 4 activities that my first LV batch will come on 1st of September, second will come on 1st of October, third on 1st of November, fourth on 1st of December. And I have 40 activities and I will just add first batch delivery into 10 activities which are going to link with it. That these 10 activities will start when my first batch will arrive. Then I will link next 10 activities to that. I will add it in their predecessor. So this is another way. You have to add the activities. If you are not adding it as a constraint, we will add it as an activity.
Oh, yes, I understand. I'm just saying that, is there any faster way to just set all the strings or set all the relationships in a batch way? Because
basically to add the activities, there is a way in which we can do it a little faster. We can add the activities in Excel and then we can import it in P6. But for relationship, you have to do it in P6. You cannot import the relationship.
Okay. And also one by one, right?
Yes, one by one.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Because last day we saw one option of fill down. Did you, anyone of saw the option fill down in which we selected all these and then we just do it and fill it down? So similarly, we can add here predecessor and successor. So I will just remove this successor for just to give you an example. You see, you have no option to fill it down here. You cannot click it. So you have to do it manually. You have to select here. Either you can do it from assigning here, or you can select here, and then you have to assign it to predecessor.
There is a way, Umair, which can be like by which we can link the activities. Like if we want to only use the default relationship finish start, that can be used applied on many activities by selecting them all and linking them. But definitely we will not be using the default relationship for all the activities.
Yes, that is just can be used for 3 or 4 activities in the same WBS level, and that also finish to start. Not in the.
No. I think we can also apply it across the WBS and for as many activities as we want. But practically that relationship will not be used a lot of time in our schedule. But if it is the case, then we can use it.
Yes, but similarly, you have to again put the same effort in it. You have to go and check activity by activity and add the lag if required, or change the relationship type.
Exactly. We will only default relationships will be developed, and after that, all the lags and all everything need to be checked. You just
So
show it for
norm,
their information. I'm saying.
so normal, okay, I will. So normal practice is normally that we do it like this. We have to go for activity by activity. We open this log here, and we keep on assigning their predecessor or successor. This is the normal practice. We do it while working on the bigger projects also. I just add its predecessor and successor from the exercise. I just deleted to so these are my relationships completed as per exercise. We have applied the constraint here. And now we will move to our next exercise. Before exercise, we will have some 2-3 slides to discuss from our presentation. So last we discussed about the leveling, different levels in P6, different level while scheduling, and after the activity and their relationships and applying any constraint. Now next activity is to load the resources in activities. That for to do this activity, to do this work, how much resources, what resources we require. So there are 3 types of resources in P6. One is labor, material, non-labor, which we can edit. So in labor, it can be, you can either define it as per the crafts, and if you have craft distributions, or you can define the labors on the basis of man hours on every cost center level or activity level. For example, to do an excavation work, and I have a quantity of 100 cubic meter, I need 80 hours for labor for non-skilled craft and 7 hours for a supervisor. Either I can assign it like this, or I can assign it as a whole, that for to do 100 cubic meter of excavation, I need 88 man hours. I will assign man hours as a resource, and I will give its units up to 88. Similarly, we can assign materials, different types of material which we require to perform activity. For example, if we have concrete placement, we can assign sand, cement, crush to the material which we require to complete our activity. And in non-labor activity, normally we put our BOQ, our quantity. So resource requirement should be a smooth curve. and a gradual increase till it reach its peaks, maintain peaks for required period, and gradually decrease till project is complete. So after that, we assign the resources, we see its curve also. What is the resource allocation and leveling curve? So normally this curve should be like this, that it should firstly gradually increase, that you increase your resources gradually from the start of the project. And then it goes to its peak and then it starts decreasing at the end of the project. This is normally the planning curve like this is considered perfect for the projects. Normally you do not have a very front loaded curve like this and then it's going flat at the end. So for normal projects, we plan it like this, that it's a smooth curve, gradually increases to its peak, maintain its peak for some times, and then gradually decrease it. So after the resource loading, we also do the resource leveling, and we have an option in P6 to do the resource leveling. We will discuss it there. We can do it through P6 also, or if we want to do it manually, we will get the curve from P6 and our resource loading histogram like this. And we can then change the relationships between some activities, and we can delay the start of some activities to move forward and adjust our curve. And we can do it even also with P6. We have some options to do it P6, in which we give some criteria that on which criteria it should allocate and level the resources. So this is the scheduling tab which we discuss. If we press F9, this tab comes. From here, we schedule the project. What happens when we schedule the project? The critical path method, CPM, scheduling technique is used to calculate the project schedule. CPM uses activity duration and relationship between activities to calculate the project schedule. So after this, our next exercise is related to define and assigning the resources in our schedule. So today we will just define the resources, and tomorrow we will assign them to activities. So in the exercise, we are defining 3 types of resources. One is quantity, and its resource type is material. Other is man hours, its resource type is labor. And one is machine hours, its resource type is non-labor. So we are using non-labors to assign the machine hours, our machines here. So we will go to P6. Enterprise. Click on resources. So this is the resource tab. This is the resource tab which opens. In the resource tab, you have to press here. Click on the OK button. OK here. So here it is displaying all the resources which are in P6. So we can filter this to current project resource. Then you will see there is no resource will showing. If you want to use it global from global, you can select there. So I will just change it. I will go to filter and I will select current project resource. Now I will add 3 resources. Okay, it will keep on, after I add it, I will change it again to the project resource. Currently, he will keep on filtering on all the resources. So from this navigation window, I will select where I want my resource. This is just navigation. With the arrows, I can select the navigation. So this is the first resource. I will mark it at QTY, and resource name is quantity. Resource type is material. I will add another resource. From navigation, I will select it to first level. It is MH. And last one is MCH. MCH is machine hours. And this is non-labor. And every labor we will set 10 hours per day, because we have set our calendar on 10 hours per day. And in the detail column, we have to select the calendar here. The calendar which we defined, it was work 10 hours per day. When we were defining the calendar, we have an option there to ever add a source calendar also. So if at that times, if we had decided, we have defined our source calendar, then we would add it here. For example, for craft of X-ray machine technician, we can add a calendar here that he will work only on 4 days from Monday to Thursday. So for that, here we will add a craft of X-ray machine technician. We will add a source in labor, and we will add that calendar to him. So whenever there is activity in which we assign that resource, it will only be scheduled from Monday to Thursday. It will only be planned from Monday to Thursday by P6. And remaining days, it will just show as non-work day and move the activity ahead. So these are the 3 tabs. Here we have 2 options, and auto compute actuals. If we want to calculate the actuals from P6, then we will check it, or if we want to do enter actual on ourselves, we will uncheck it. And second, calculate cost from units. So if we have linked the unit cost with the units, it will multiply it and shows your total cost also and your earned cost. So as per exercise, we have added these 3 resources, their names, resource types, and their 10 hours per day. Tomorrow, we will assign these resources to the activities, so which we have created in P6. So this is for today's exercise. Anyone have any question, he can ask it.
Yes, Mr. Umair, I have 2 questions. One is, can we put how much constraint in a plan? Because constraint also create a negative float in the plan. And second thing, can we put a maximum limit of resources here because during resource leveling, we have a limit of how much maximum resources we can assign in the plan.
For your first question, for constraint, you can add as many constraint. There is no restriction on it, but normally for a good plan, it is considered that it should not have a minimum constraint, because when we run the schedule, it generates a report. I just show. Let me share the screen. So when we schedule it, we can add a log file here. So basically this file is the quality check of any schedule. In this schedule, it will show you all the what is your schedule is happening. So here you can say he is showing activities with constraint. Total activities 37, activities with constraint 1. So in a schedule, if you have too many activities with constraint, it will compromise its quality, and you will have a lot of problems while updating it also. It will not show you the exact critical path, because in some constraint, if they do not realize as you are planning it, it will compromise your critical path very badly. So normally the practice is you put it only up to 5% constraint of your total activities. This is not a hard rule, but it is a general practice. And your second question was regarding the amount of number of resources, how many total number of resources we can add.
Yes, I say if in our project, our planned maximum fitter was 100. So we have to put a limit in resources, because while we check our resources exceeding or not.
No, basically, if there is, you have maximum this is the maximum budget you have. 100 is the budget. That maximum you have 100 number of fitters on your project. Is it right like this?
Yes, yes. So I am asking, can we put maximum limit in the resource window? Or either we check our resources are exceeding or not when we are assigning the
No,
resources.
I think there is no such option in P6 while adding the sources where we can put the maximum window. Let me confirm also, but I have not used such, and I am sure there is no such window to which will show you that you are exceeding the limit of your available limit. In the columns of activity codes, I am not able to see any such option in which we can define the limits, that this is the maximum limit for this resource. Basically, the procedure is a little different. How to add the resources? Normally, the practice is resources are calculated from the quantity. You have some BOQ quantity. From this BOQ quantity, you have some company standard. We discussed standard manners in the presentation. So for if you are having 1000 dia inches of piping, and for 1000 dia inch of piping, as per company standard, you should have, I say for 1 dia inch, it's 10 man hours. So for 1000, you should have 10,000 man hours, total of 10,000 man hours. So similarly, you can divide it craft wise to other crafts. From 10,000 man hours, 1,000 man hours will be for supervisor, 4,000 will be for fitter, 2,000 for fabricator, like this. So you have to, what you have to do, you have to distribute those 4,000 man hours into your activities. So you basically you are not exceeding the limit. If you have 4,000 man hours as per your BOQ, you will assign 4,000 man hours here. So this is the practice. This is how we do it. Is it relate to your question? Is it clear now?
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
I am saying there is some questions in the chat also. Let me study them.
Mr. Omer, I have one question here.
Yes, please ask.
Basically, you have defined three type of resources. One is labor, one other is material, and the third one is non-labor. And as per our previous experience, it is very difficult to add three kind of resources and to manage these resources. What do you say about this?
It depends on how much data you have available from your company. In some companies, you have even so much data available, so much past KPIs available that you can is even assigned I have assigned only one labor resources man hours. So you can assign it on the basis of craft also, like how many supervisors, how many engineers, how many welders, fitters you need for one activity. Similarly, how much accurate is your BOM? If your BOM is just journal BOM, you have that to fabricate a tank, you need 200 ton of steel. So either you add 200 ton of steel, or if you have a more accurate BOM available, so you add it in 5-6 parts. Like I need plates 150 ton, H beam 20 ton, like this. So it depends on your available data, how much data you have available. Normally, what I have done so far, I also add two sources only. I add quantity and man hours. But in some project, we also upload machines. In some projects which are very much machine dependent, construction machine dependent, like some dam projects, infrastructure projects where there is a lot of machinery involved, you have to upload the machines in P6 also there, because in that project manpower is not that critical as the machines are critical. Machines loading is critical. So if you upload the machines there, you can have the histogram for your machines, that in which month how many excavator you need. So it will be easier for to plan the equipment machinery accordingly. So it varies on project to project. In small projects, normally we just define quantities and man hours. But if we go to some complex projects, we also define materials, and more complex, we define machinery also.
But I think most of the planning engineers only define two type of resources. For industrial projects, they define material and the labor units, that is man hours. And on the big infrastructure projects, they define machine hours and the quantity, material man hours. So in that case, they skip the man hours.
It depends on the requirement. What is your requirement? Because no, in the current project on which I am working, I need equipment loading from P6 also. I need manpower loading from it also. I need my quantities and S-curve from P6 also. So I have to upload both three of them. But if my client do not want equipment loading from P6, I do not need it. So basically P6 give us output. What output we need? Similarly, we put the input in it. If we need equipment loading in output, we will put it in the input. If we do not need it, we will not put it.
Okay, thank you.
So that's all for today's exercise. Tomorrow we will continue from here and we will assign the resources and move further. And I hope you will also all complete your exercises up to this level.
Okay, thank you.
Good night, everyone.